Hey guys, I'm here to go ahead and do a random tag video. I usually only am able to film at night because I have two kids and I have to wait until they go to sleep to be able to film. And unfortunately, the lighting in my room looks extremely yellow and terrible at night, especially on this webcam that I've been using. But I had an opportunity right now in the middle of the day when there's a little bit of light to film, so I figured I would try and just see how much better it was. So I just picked a random tag to do. I wasn't tagged by anyone, obviously, and I'm not going to tag anybody to do it. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. That's me tagging you. But I'm just going to go ahead and do a fast, quick video tag and just see how, I guess, this lighting works better. Okay, so I am doing the reading habits tag and it is 11 questions. So let's start with number 1. The first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? And I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh, I have to read in this certain place. But I read the majority of the time in my bedroom, in my bed, after my kids go to sleep. So that's just where I end up reading. If I ever have the opportunity to read, I don't know, downstairs in my living room, I would, but that's not a place where I get very much reading done because when I'm down there, I'm usually down there with my family and there's lots going on and it's not exactly good reading space. Number 2 is bookmark or random piece of paper. And on this one, I really don't have a preference as long as the bookmark is like a flat, almost like a flat piece of paper, then I will use that. I go back and forth. Right now, I am actually using let me grab it. Right now, I'm actually using a book outlet, coupon thing right here. So that's what I'm using right now, and sometimes I'll use a Post-it, sometimes I'll just rip a piece of paper off out of a spiral or something and use that. Anything that's flat. I once got this bookmark that had Post-it strips in it because I like to make notes in my books, and I used that for one day and it messed with the spine of my books. And ever since then, I will never use anything but something that is perfectly flat. Number 3, can you ever just stop reading or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain number of pages? So I can never just stop reading. I have to come to some sort of endpoint, whether it be the end of a chapter or the end of a scene where there's a break between paragraphs. I can never just stop reading. Even if I'm super tired, I will force myself to continue reading till one of those breaks or till the end of a chapter. The only problem with that is that usually at the end of a chapter, they give you a little bit of information that you want to know more about, you want to expand on, and then you're tempted to go into the next chapter. And then if you start the next chapter, you got to finish the next chapter, and it creates this never-ending cycle of never being able to put down a book. Number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? And for me, I'm going to say no, not usually. I don't prepare myself a snack to eat while I'm reading. I usually have a water bottle with me just because I usually always have a water bottle with me if I get tired. I mean, if I get thirsty. The one thing that if I did have a snack while I was reading is usually sunflower seeds. So I usually will pick at those and just eat and kind of absent-mindedly while I am reading. But that's it. I don't usually plan to have a snack or sit and eat. I feel like that is a bad way to snack because you can get lost in a book and lose track of time and maybe not even realize how much you are eating. Number 5, multitasking. Can you listen to music or have the TV on while you're reading? And for me, this is pretty much a no, at least not intentionally. I can get lost into a book into where I am completely in that world and nothing else is around me. My real life no longer exists. But that's harder to do when there are outside factors like music or the television on. However, sometimes I'll open a book and I'll start reading and not even notice that the television is on. But if I do notice that it's on, I'll turn it off. So I guess, can I read with the television on? Yes. But am I multitasking where I'm reading and watching TV? No, never, because both experiences will suck. If you're trying to watch a show, you're not going to get it all. And when you break up a book like that, where you're back and forth, I think that would drastically decrease the value of your experience. So Okay, number 6, one book at a time or several at a time. And this is something that I go back and forth on, over years. Sometimes I'm like one book at a time, start to finish, and then you pick up the next book. But then I go through other phases where I'll have several different books. I have gone through phases in my life where I'll read one chapter from one book and then one chapter from the next book, and then I'll go back and forth, chapter by chapter, back and forth between books. And then I've gone through phases in my life where I have one book upstairs that I'm reading and one book downstairs that I'm reading, and depending on like where I am in the house when I want to start reading, I'll read like that book respectively. And so right now, though, I am reading one book at a time. Number 7 is reading at home or reading anywhere. And I'm going to say reading at home for the same reasons I stated earlier, kind of with the music and the TV. When there are things going on around me when I'm in a public place, I find it a lot more difficult to get lost into a book. And if I'm not going to be able to get lost into a book, I feel like why would I want to read it? Because I'm not having the experience that I would want to have. Number 8 is reading out loud or silently in your head. And this is something that I also go back and forth on. Usually, most of the time, I read silently in my head. However, if I am reading during a time where there are things going on around me, I will read out loud just to keep my focus. Number 9 is, do you read ahead or skip pages? So I used to be very, very bad about this. Like, I don't think I ever would read a book from beginning to end, like, in order. I would, even, maybe in the first chapter, I would read one chapter, and then I would flip to, the last page and read the last page. I don't do that so much anymore, but I have to use a lot of restraint not to do that. I still have those urges where I just want to, get to the end and just see what happens and then read my way there. Like I said, I don't do that anymore. However, what I do sometimes is if I'm reading a book where I get to a slow point in the book where, it kind of feels like it's dragging and it's hard for me to stay invested in the pages, I'll skip forward a few pages and do a little reading. Does anything exciting happen? Skip forward a little pages and does anything exciting happen? And I'll do that until I see something that's exciting. That makes me know that it's worth it to keep reading because something exciting is going to happen. Otherwise, I get to a point where I might just close up a book and stop reading that. And I rarely ever do that. I've only done that with one book in the past 5 years have I just stopped reading. And I don't even like to classify it as a book that I stopped reading. I still think that one day I will pick it back up and go back and read it because I feel like even if it's a bad book, I need to read it all to be able to form a genuine opinion. You have to read the whole thing. You have to read the ending. And so since I haven't done that yet, I guess I'm calling it a book that I am still reading. It's just taking me a very long time. Number 10 is breaking the spine or keeping it like new, and 100% keeping it like new. If I have a paperback book, I will barely open that thing and turn the book while I'm reading it so that my spines do not get a single fold, dent, or anything on it. And number 11 is, do you write in your books? And absolutely not. I do not write in my books at all, not ever. I do use Post-it notes though. If I want to take notes, which I do take notes or mark things a lot, but I use a Post-it, and if the Post-it's not big enough for me to write what I say, I'll number it, and then I have a spiral where I keep them numbered to write what I want to write, or if it is big enough, I'll just write what I wanted to say on the Post-it, but I do not ever directly write into my books. No. Alright, and that is it for the reading habits tag. If you have watched any of my other videos and you think that this lighting is better, let me know, and I can try to only produce videos in this kind of lighting. I'm really, like I said before, I'm really hoping to get a camera besides this webcam sometime soon. If you want to do this tag, go ahead and do it. I would love to watch yours. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.